everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today, I've got a couple of battles for you that I've played during the asymmetric battle mode when that was active. And if you're not familiar or you've completely missed the event, the idea is that you've got a full set of 7 players on tier 6, and you only have 5 players, but in tier 8 ships on the other team. Now, the very first thing you'd probably think is, well, the tier 8s are going to wipe the floor with the tier 6s because, well, it's tier 8. But it depends, really, because there are, I find, some really interesting tactical nuances to this that you can use and that you should be aware of when you're doing this thing. So, first of all, not every tier 6 is the same. There are some tier 6s that are much more suited to this form of battle than others. So, for example, I'd be careful with tier 6 battleships because there's a large jump in terms of firepower between tier 6 and tier 8. You often find still 356mm or lower calibers in tier 6, and you often find 400mm guns in tier 8. The other kind of ships oftentimes actually don't have such a big difference. So if you're playing, let's say, a Fushun or any other kind of destroyer, the difference between getting into a tier 7 battle, which is something you would do during regular games, or getting into a tier 8 battle isn't all that huge. In terms of actual torpedo defense, yes, tier 8 ships will have some more hit points, but it's not such a massive difference. Now, on the tier 8 side, obviously, there are some excellent premium ships that you can go out with, that you will have a lot more choices in terms of heavy cruisers. And obviously, if you're going out with aircraft carriers, a tier 8 ship will have much more of a defense against a tier 6 aircraft carrier than the other way around. So, while it seems at first glance very unbalanced and somewhat favored towards the tier 8s in terms of quality, you also have to see that you have the quantity. You have 2 more ships. Now, in this first battle, my very first pick was the de Grasse, because the de Grasse is a light cruiser, so I can deal with tier 8 destroyers just the same way I can deal with tier 6 destroyers. And the de Grasse is very good at setting fires and is very maneuverable and has 2/3 of her firepower concentrated forward. So I figured, yeah, we'll see how this goes. But I'm relatively certain. I know that I can take on tier 7 ships in a de Grasse, and I'm relatively certain that I can do something against tier 8 ships as well. So let's get started. And the first one we're playing on the Atlantic map. Now, one big difference, I think, that these 2 additional ships on your team are making is a question of mindset. Because tier 6 naturally will put you into a defensive mindset. Because you're thinking, oh my gosh, I am super bottom tier. I'm in a 7 strong fail platoon. Tier 8 will naturally putting you into a superiority mindset where you're saying, oh, I'm in a tier 8. These are just tier 6 ships. I can just go on a rampage through them. Now, the thing is, there are multiple ways of winning a battle, and not all of them are destroy all the enemy ships. So, while we are inferior in terms of raw firepower, we are probably superior in terms of number and in terms of map control, if we're playing it smartly. So the first thing I'm doing is run the engine boost, get her up to 37 knots, and I'm going to take the long loop around, because there was 1 destroyer in the enemy team, and we do have a carrier, so we do get some early scout, which is extremely valuable. Now, the carrier isn't going to be able to do a huge amount of damage to the enemy team, but we're getting scout, and as soon as we know where the 5 of them are, and we see if there are any openings, well, we'll see if we can exploit them. So I'm looping this way around just to check if the destroyer is sneaking through the islands, which is a very common thing for destroyers to do on this map. Just loop around, get to the cap. So we are spreading. Look at the spread of our team. We are spreading pretty well. We've got 2 ships on the left. We've got the carrier in a central position, and we've got 3 ships center head, and I'm taking right flank. And all 5 are spotted, and all 5 are concentrating on the other side. So that means that, well, first of all, I don't have anything to shoot at. But second of all, while our left side is going to fall, and there goes the Fubuki getting himself shot to death by the Kagero, and probably with some addition from all these cruisers. Their flank is completely open, and again, you're under strength in numbers. You are at strength. You are at strength in firepower, but you're under strength in numbers, and that means that you do have to be a lot more careful with your map control. So there's a Prince Eugen. He just damage con a single fire, and he's about to eat a whole flurry of torpedoes from what was probably the Fushun. So he's just roundabout dead, and that's what I said earlier about destroyers. It doesn't matter that much. And you might think, that's just a tier 6 destroyer. But it's not that huge of a difference. And you are getting into tier 7 games in normal ones. So the Prince Eugen is now turning tail and running. There's the Black Shapayev back there. But they're going to be one. No, we lost one ship, but that Prince Eugen is going down. And the rest of their team is completely concentrated on the other flank. So, well, the logical thing that I'm doing right here, I'm making a run for the cup. Because, like I said, you don't have to destroy all the ships to win. And you can as well, even though we might be able to pull that off. So the Molotov takes out the Prince Eugen, which leaves the Black Shapayev over here against 3 of us, Molotov, Fushun, and myself. So Molotov goes somewhat defensive, and Shapayev shooting at me. That's fine. I'm quick. I'm just going to turn out, and we'll see if I can get some fire set. Could have used the armor piercing here, but he's giving broadside to the Molotov, and I'm putting up the 3rd engine boost. And in no time, in this very, very quick French light cruiser, I'm at the enemy capture circle. And at this point, yeah, the Shapayev just get himself blown out of the water, because you're in a light cruiser. You can't do that sort of thing. So here we go. And the 3 remaining enemy ships are still milling about somewhere down south. Now they are going to, and there we go, they killed the De Grasse. And if we were to stand and fight, I mean, we're 2 ships ahead right now, but if we were to stand and fight, it might be a bit more of an even trade, and our carrier is woefully exposed. But none of this matters, because the 5 of them haven't been paying any attention whatsoever in their presumed easy rampage to just wipe the floor with these tier 6 ships. There's 2 of us sitting in their capture circle. So not much going to go on in this battle anymore. We're just capping them out, and they're not the rest of. Look at what the rest of our team is doing. We've got Fushun in here and myself. Just because I don't trust the Fushun necessarily to get itchy and head down again. But yeah, we're capping. I don't think you cap any faster with 2 ships in there, but I'm also not going to be back in range of anything by the time that we've capped. So I might as well stay here and take the capture point. But the rest of the team is heading to defend our cap because they've seen what's going on, and the Bayern takes out the other Prince again. And now they're down to 2 ships, and yeah, we're just sitting at the edge of the capture circle here. Even if they make it into the cup at this point, even if they take out all 3 ships down there, there's no way that they're going to cup, that they're going to flip the cup before we flip theirs. And just like 2 more seconds, and 1, and there we go. And we've won this battle. Now you might be thinking, okay, well, that was surely just a one-off that this team did this wrong, right? Now let me present you with another battle. And again, I'm out of my De Grasse. This was, I think, the battle I played straight after that. We have a Black Bayern, New Mexico. Not necessarily the best ship, I think. Lots of battleships here. And there's a tier 8 carrier in the enemy team. Now, the De Grasse has the defensive AA skill, but it's a tier 6 light cruiser. So I'm not sure how much I can actually do to enemy planes. Now, I've got the Black Bayern with me here and one of the other battleships, and I've got that Eagle with us. So let's see what the carrier is doing. If he's smart, he's going to go either after me or after the Eagle, because we are the quickest ships around here, and we can do something in terms of maneuver. So I've got the defensive AA up, but even together with the Bayern, I think we are able to take a couple of planes down, but it doesn't make a huge difference, and the Bayern has no chance of actually dodging these, so he's lost almost half his health in that one swipe. But that's okay. He's in a battleship. While he doesn't have the same amount of health as a tier 8 battleship, he can tank some of that airdrops. So if you're in a carrier and you're under strength, taking care of the things that are fast and maneuverable might be a better idea. So we don't know where the enemy team is yet. Okay, we know where the Takao is, and we know where the two battleships are, and we know where the destroyer is, which leaves only the carrier, who's probably sitting somewhere in the capture circle. And the Takao is moving off. I don't think I can lob that one, but yeah. The Takao is moving off, and there's the Shokaku. And now this strange dead whale camo is making it actually relatively difficult to target that thing, because it's a little bigger than the hitbox, I think. So the carrier at this point is the last, and they've all abandoned this flank and are heading over in the other direction. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna shoot myself some. Okay, now we've lost our Fushun, and that's the right thing to do from the Shokaku. Like I said earlier, take care of the fast movers first. And the North Carolina is coming back because he kind of somewhat realized that he is now up against and that we're threatening this flank. So I'm putting the de Grasse in reverse, bow in, set a fire. He damage cons a single fire. You know what's coming next. The Galician would have been actually maybe a better choice here, because I really don't think my defensive AA is doing a whole lot of good. But that's a permafire on the North Carolina, and he's probably conveniently missed the Eagle that's been dropping torpedoes onto him. So he's just sitting there broadside on, taking it, and he's not doing a whole lot of damage in return. And the Bayern is starting to open up as him as well, and that's 2 permafires. And that's going to be a couple of torpedo hits. Now I do have to watch out, because the carrier is obviously after me, so I'm running as much as I can. That's a perma flood, so I do take a bit of damage, and I was kind of hoping that I could run into these torpedoes before they armed, but I must have just missed it. But now the North Carolina is taking damage over time massively. He's still flooding. Let's see if I can set another fire. But yeah, he's dead. He's very, very dead. You might be in a tier 8 battleship, but you're not going to stand up against this. And you only get one shot every 20 seconds or so. And I'm in a light cruiser. So now obviously the Eagle is threatening the Cup. And the rest of the team is still milling about on the other side. 3 of them on the complete other flank being totally oblivious. Now they have killed our New Mexico. But once again, the fast movers are in their capture circle. Because you cannot, unlike regular battles, you don't have a balanced complement across 2 flanks. You are in understrength numerically, which means that you actually need to keep an eye on the map situation, and that's probably not something that too many people are used to, because you actually need to watch out what happens and what's going on. Because if you abandon one flank to go after the easy targets, you better make sure that you're capturing, because the other flank's going to come around, because we have 2 more ships. Now, Shokaku is dropping the Eagle, and that is the right thing to do. But even if he can get the Eagle, and he might be able to he gets a couple more torpedo hits in, but I am still dancing around forward and reverse. My repair is almost off cooldown. There we go. And I'm probably going to be able to survive the next airdrop. Now, the problem is he's not going to get another airdrop in, because we're going to have capped out by the time that he's going to get here. And I'm not the only one. Even if he kills me, there are 2 battleships now in the enemy cap. So even though we're actually behind in points, and well, the Shokaku is going to die, but there we go. We've capped them out. So well done to the Eagle. That's what I mean. It's not the same mindset as you are in a 7 versus 7 battle. So after this, I went and switched sides. And I got into my Richelieu for a tier 8 battle. And let's see what we can do. So the enemy team has an Independence, Queen Elizabeth, Bayern, New Mexico, Dallas, de Grasse, and Trento. Again, the de Grasse, right? These are the things that are actually really, really useful in these kind of battles. No destroyers on the enemy team, and we have a Benson and a Tashkent of our own. So how do you approach this? So in this was my very first battle on the tier 8 side of things. And again, I'm thinking, okay, I'm in a Richelieu. I should be able to do a fair amount of damage to the enemy team. But you are numerically under strength, and the difference between tier 8 and tier 6 isn't as big as it feels. So we are in an encounter, which means we are going to get at least 3 ships coming around our left flank, so on the east side of the map. So my usual positioning is around that island there, because then it's a great defensive position. You can hold that flank for a long time. Now again, that's where I'm heading initially, but then it looks like the Mainz is going ahead down there. So I'm thinking, okay, I've probably got among the best AA in here, and it's a tier 6 carrier. So maybe I'll take a more central position, because there's not so many of us. If our battleship isn't going to take center, then and the mines goes full on left, then our center will be exposed, and I didn't want to get capped out, so I'm going to take the central position. This position is by far not as powerful as the flanking position, because you are going to get, or you can get crossfired quite a bit in here. Now we are taking these these squadrons down. There's no question here. That's a North Carolina. So these aren't going to get far, but they know where we are. That's the more important bit, and we don't. Our 2 destroyers are completely looping around and trying to rush their cap by the looks of it. There's the New Mexico. Now, there are a couple of really good light cruisers on the enemy team. So if we're not careful, okay, there's the Bayern. So there's 2 of them. I can take on 2 of them, and there's the Dallas. So that's the group of 3 that I was expecting on this flank, starting to get shots out at the Bayern. And I'm just going to take defensive. Now, unfortunately, the mines did not actually go around into the defensive position. So against all reason, the Dallas sets me on fire. And there comes the de Grasse as well. And there's another ship shooting at me here. So actually, I'm not up against 3. There's the Queen Elizabeth in a defensive position. Now, I can hurt the Dallas very badly, but now I need to pull back, because I am getting under air attack, plus I'm getting shot at by the entire enemy team. And if I'm not careful, I'm getting myself taken out here. The Queen Elizabeth is in a defensive position around the island. That means obviously that their cap is wide open, but there is one cruiser who's in that rear position there and who's chasing these destroyers down, because the enemy team is numerically superior and they can hold us down. They will lose some ships here, like that New Mexico rushing forward. He's going to get chewed up, but they are having the numbers to trade. We don't. So the 3 of us are defensive back here against 5 enemy ships, and the carrier and that light cruiser are in the defense. Now the carrier looks like he's going to be very, very dead. North Carolina takes out the New Mexico, and I'm trying to get some more shots. And the Benson takes out the Independence. But there is still a light cruiser back there, and by the looks of it that we can't see him, that means it's the Trento. So he's smoking up back there, and the Trento is an extremely dangerous ship. Is that even a light cruiser? I'm gonna have to check, but it's an extremely dangerous ship, just on account of being Italian, against destroyers. So I wouldn't be surprised if he knows what he's doing, that he's going to take these 2 destroyers on. And look, that the Grasse is pulling back as well. Now I see what's going on, and that our destroyers need support, but we're back here. Now they can defeat our destroyers, and there's a Queen Elizabeth around there. They can defeat our destroyers without us being able to do a whole lot about it. And there goes the Benson, because they have the fast movers, and they have been operating as a team. Now they haven't been able to break through here, but they are able to clear up the destroyers. Now I can and do land the shots on the de Grasse, but that thing is so nimble. And now there's the Bayern pushing through, and by the looks of it, and the Mainz is realizing as well that we need to do something about this. But we're going to lose our North Carolina in a second, and I was kind of trying to in vain to draw some fire and save the North Carolina, which exposes my broadside again to the Queen Elizabeth, which means that's happening. But the North Carolina is down. I'm hoping that the de Grasse can take out that the Mainz can take out the Queen Elizabeth with torpedoes, maybe. And if I'm making a run back, and I'll by some miracle manage to citadel the Bayern, which I don't, because the Bayern, even though she's a tier 6, very well holds up against these 380 mils. So I'm very, very dead right now. And the other destroyer is still milling about at the capture circle against 3 light cruisers. So yeah, we lost that very comprehensively, because the enemy team had more flexibility, and because we haven't operated as a team as well as we could have. And we've come in with an offensive mindset. You're in understrength. You don't, even though they're just tier 6s, you don't just push through them. Now, can you win as on the tier 8 side? Of course you can, because again, your strength of the whole thing is when you are actually, playing to your strength. So you want to be in a defensive position, or in a defensible position, but you have the higher damage output. And if you can dominate the enemy team and box them in such that they cannot maneuver, then you win. Now here we have obviously an extremely good Shokaku player here on the team, plus Black Chapayev, double Richelieu, and the Black Bismarck. So even just by quality, we are on the top shelf here. And enemy team again has a Queen Elizabeth, Bayern, New Mexico, a Sirius, and 3 destroyers. Now, if these destroyers know what they're doing and manage to slip through, yes. But we are with a Shokaku here, so let's roll this. And they probably know what they're doing. By the looks of it, they will probably spot the destroyers and get them all accounted for. So let's see let's see what we can do. And still, we do have to watch out because these destroyers can and will do a lot of damage to our ships. Now we're playing Atlantic again, but we're playing from the other side this time. So I am going to go between these 2 islands. Now I'm obviously waiting for the carrier to go and scout, but that's look at the planes going out. You can already see it. Normally I would go around the longer loop, but I'm somewhat trusting on the carrier to scout the destroyers. And there they go. Look, there goes the sweep from the fighter planes, and all the other planes are following. So he's sweeping that flank first, and there are so far no destroyers spotted, which means I can start turning in. I don't need to go the long way around. I can take a semi-aggressive position right next to that island there. And we'll see where the rest... Okay, there's 1 destroyer, but he's not coming down. Look at where he's going. He's playing defensively. There's the rest of the team, and we just need 2 more destroyers spotted. There's 1. Okay, that one may go aggressive. And look at where the carrier is dropping. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's seen there's 1 destroyer who might go aggressive, and that's the one being dropped. So there he goes. He's just focusing down that 1 destroyer, and might have lost some planes. But again, this is a tier 8 carrier, and these are tier 6 ships, so the AA isn't going to be all that great. And yeah, these 2 destroyers are pushing, but the rest of them seems to be wanting to play defensive. So here they have given up their advantage. There comes the Sirius. Now he's not looking at me. He's smoking up because he didn't even see me. But I've seen him, and now he knows that I'm here, so he can't get through here, which means that the carrier is now safe in this extremely aggressive position. Now there comes the Enskede, and he's just dropped torpedoes because he's opening up and he's running away from me. So see if I can get some shots in. There come the torpedoes. I'm going to take 1 maybe. Yeah, you would have to be a lot more aggressive. The problem is you can't one-shot the Richelieu in an Enskede like that. So, and now they're boxed in. Look at this. We are in a strong position. The Queen Elizabeth can't angle because and it's way too much forward because he's got battleships on all sides. There's 1 battleship center. There's 1 battleship left flank. And there comes the Sirius in what I can only describe as an actor's desperation. Are you sure this is a great idea, Mr. Sirius? You do realize how lightly armored you are and how big guns I have. So there come the torpedoes, and I'm just pressing delete on the Sirius. And then dodging these 3 torps because that was trivial. And there comes the destroyer again. But look at how they are positioned. They are completely boxed in. They're 1 ship down, so their numerical superiority is gone. They are not using their maneuverability to outplay us. And we have a strong aggressive position. Now, one of our battleships seems to be overextending. But the center is holding. I'm in a flanking position. No matter where these battleships are turning, they're going to get shot at by a Richelieu, which is not something you want. So one of our other Richelieu takes out the Queen Elizabeth, and I have now got flanking shots at the New Mexico out, who's not even shooting at me, which is fine. And the carrier is just joining in for the fun and seems to be rushing the Bayern. But we've taken 3 ships out, so we actually have more ships at this point. Now the Black Bismarck is dying, and I think he's just doing this for the fun right now. But all the destroyers are dead, and the Shokaku has killed them all. So now it's time for me to have some fun, and I can put her in forward, shout very loud, and rush to New Mexico. Now you'd say, oh, New Mexico, not a threat to a Richelieu. At this distance, she is. because at long distance probably not, but at this distance, these guns will hurt, but I can hurt it right back. And I'm just turning the ship around to get the secondaries on target. The auto secondaries are opening up, and that is a very, very, very dead buy-in. But look at how much damage he can do in return. That wasn't bad. Right? Do that with 2 ships at the same time, and your tier 8 battleship is going down very quickly. So that's the New Mexico dispatched off, which only leaves the Sirius that I, well, almost deleted. And we've only lost 1 ship, and everybody else is pretty much on full health still. So, what do you do in that kind of situation? Well, unfortunately, against the carrier this good, it's going to be hard, because he's going to just spot the destroyers. But yes, you have to use your mobility. You can't defend AA-wise against a tier 8 carrier that easily in tier 6 ships. So use your mobility, try to outmaneuver the enemy team, try to get the long way around. Sacrifice the rest of your team at home and see that you can have them tank long enough for you to get to loop around, slip through, and go for the capture circle, because you do have the initial numbers advantage and these sort of things. And again, if you're on the tier 8 team, you have to take a more carefully controlling position, because you need to keep map control, and you need to make sure that no one is slipping past. So don't go all lemming training on one flank, because you will lose against tier 6 ships. Anyway, I'm quite enjoying this. I think this is great fun, and is a really neat addition in terms of tactical thinking required. So, thank you everybody. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.